I would like to call to order the Clarkston Independence District Library Board of Trustees meeting for October 17th at 5:46 p.m. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Jan Gaffney.
Here.
Michelle Ginn.
Here.
Dan Green.
Here.
Mary Himberg. Here. Sally Lamb absent. Allison McFadden Kiesling. Here. Marilyn Pomeroy.
Here.
Julie Meredith here.
Okay. We have an item to add to the agenda tonight. It will be we'll call it number 8, and it will be the ADA, American Disabilities Act policy. Came in from the lawyer late, so we're adding it. I'll accept a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Hello, public.
So our fall book sale was a success. We raised over $8,300 this year. There were 60 volunteers who contributed over 650 hours of service to make that happen. So we're real fortunate, with the folks that we have. Our partnership with the school district, our new partnership, continued for our second book sale now. We had 14 teachers who participated. We're hoping to grow that number. But again, what that is the school district makes available up to $20 per educator to come and spend at the book sale for their students. So we're hoping that that's going to continue. General membership meeting is on Thursday, 7 p.m. We hope you'll be able to join us. It's right here. And you may remember a couple meetings ago I mentioned the Michigan Authors and Illustrators quilt that has been completed, and we're looking to have some kind of a gala event that introduces it to the community as a whole, and we'd like to do that in the spring. So what our plan is to organize a small coordinating committee that will give leadership to that event. And what we would like to see is one member from the Friends Board, one member from the Library Board, one member from staff of the library, and 1 to 2 members from the community at large. Short-term commitment, obviously, because the event will be held in the spring. But we'd like to get that committee formed by the end of this month, early November, if we can. So I would ask for you to consider that. I know you all are very busy, but you have lots of knowledge and history and connections and all that sort of stuff sitting here. So anybody interested? Okay.
We'll
I'll
be
hang
checking
around.
our calendars.
I know.
We're looking sure. So you need to know this ASAP.
Exactly. We have generated a few sort of possible ideas about what that might look like, what it could include. Nothing's in stone, including a date. So that's up to the committee. Okay. Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay. In that case, we will close the call to the public. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. There are 9 items on the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove any item before we accept a motion? In that case, I'll accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second. Okay, who's going to be second?
Which one wants to?
Who's second? Michelle.
Vicki.
Okay. She was faster. Thank you.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Okay, we have library statistics in color.
Here are statistics in front of you. I didn't really get a report from the staff, but there are just some quick highlights this month. Total visitors were up 75% in September over September of last year. Circulations were up 29% over last year. Downloads are up 16%. Wireless users are up 20%.
Wow.
So things are going really well. It's all good news.
All right. And the library director's report.
Okay, on my report this evening, buildings and grounds. Phase 2 of the library's parking lot reconstruction project is nearly complete. Allied replaced the final walkway light fixture that wasn't lighting properly. ASI completed the finish work, including replacing the structural slab, painting the crosswalk, adjusting the handicap parking signs, and installing the concrete collars around the 2 storm drains. Allied is scheduled to correct the footings on the columns at the entrance on October 24th. And National Restoration completed the retaining wall, the concrete slab outside the meeting room, fire door, and the repair of the brick paver patio. I also met with our snowplow contractor and consulted with the fire marshal regarding issues with the current parking lot in preparation for phase 3 of the parking lot reconstruction project. The engineer will be putting together the RFP by December so the project can be bid in January in preparation for the work to take place in spring of 2017. This is like an ongoing saga. I don't even have phase 2 done and I'm already in the middle of phase 3. So. But a couple of things that we're looking to address, we would like to put some of those pillars on either side of the fire hydrant to make sure that it's protected and some things like that. So. Next, the carpet throughout the library was professionally cleaned on Saturday, October 8th, while we were closed to cure the concrete at the library's entrance. So we did put that day that we didn't have patrons here to good use. We cured the concrete and cleaned the carpets. The library's windows will be washed inside and out on Saturday, October 22nd. That's a long overdue thing, and we're looking forward to being able to see out again.
Clearly.
In terms of project updates, the library's Harwood team has conducted several community conversations that resulted in some very useful feedback. There are still a few additional conversations scheduled on the following dates. We have one with teenagers on Tuesday, November 15th from 6 to 7 p.m. in the youth activities room. And then the Friends of Depot Park Committee, we're going to do a conversation with them on Wednesday, November 16th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. in this room. Anyone interested in participating in one of those conversations can call the library at 248-625-2212 or register on the library's website at www.indelib.org. Based on the conversation feedback, the library's Harvard team has selected a few action items to report to the library staff right away to assist in improving services. And in December, the Harvard team will compile all the data gathered so far, look for trends, and determine how to report to the community what has been learned, as well as assess if more conversations are still needed. On Friday, October 7th, since the library was closed for the work at the entrance, the staff had a training day. This was a very successful event in which 38 of our 47 employees attended all or part of the day. We had an all-staff meeting, a presentation by the fire marshal, held a training on our computer software, provided a tour of all the collections to ensure everyone knew about all recent changes, and held a team building session. Feedback on the evaluations was positive. Upcoming events, the library hosts an open mic night on the third Friday of each month from 7 to 9 p.m. The next event is Friday, October 21st, that's this Friday. Performers ages 7 and up can play instruments, sing a song, or recite a poem. Material should be appropriate for a library family-friendly setting. Participants need to register at the library in person or call the library at same number, 248-625-2212. All ages are welcome to attend as audience members, and coffee, tea, and light refreshments will be provided.
And I would like to add that I am hosting that event.
Great. Thank you. Now, is this the first, not the
This is the
first?
second.
This is the second one. Okay.
Yes. That first one went very well. So we're looking forward to a very successful second one.
All right. On to regular business. Number 1. A review of the board candidates for the 2017-2019 term.
As written in the district library agreement, the Clarkston Independence District Library consists of 7 trustees appointed for a 3-year term. 5 of the trustees are appointed by the Charter Township of Independence, and 2 of the trustees are appointed by the City of the Village of Clarkston. The term of the current library board will expire on December 31st, 2016. The current board members received forms from their respective municipalities asking if they wish to seek reappointment for the term for January 1, 2017 through December 31, 2019. Candidates applying to represent the Charter Township of Independence seeking reappointment: Jan Gaffney, Michelle Ginn, Dan Green, Allison McFadden Kiesling, and Marilyn Pomeroy. Declining reappointment, none. Candidates applying to represent the City of the Village of Clarkston seeking reappointment is Mary Himberg. Declining reappointment is Sally Lamb. The City of the Village of Clarkston posted for candidates to fill 1 trustee seat, and applying for appointment is Ann Rose. So at this time, both municipalities would ask that the board review the candidates and make recommendations.
Well, I think we're doing a great job. And I think that Ann will be a
Great
delightful
addition.
addition. Yeah, I'm excited that she's agreed to do this, so I would make a motion that we approve this listing and recommend it to the township and the city respectively.
Second.
Okay, any comments? All right. I also want to say I think the board has worked together very well. I'm very pleased with the training that we received on the Open Meetings Act and our attempts to conduct business in a transparent fashion. And everyone, we tend to be a consensus-building board. So while we don't always agree, we do attempt to find consensus. So it's been moved and seconded that we present these candidates for approval by the township and the City of the Village of Clarkston. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved.
Thank you very much. I will notify those municipalities.
Number 2, review of the distribution plan for the HAP rebate.
I'll warn you, this is very wordy for what it's all about, but I do my best to make it as concise as possible. Last week, the library received a letter from HAP, Health Alliance Planner Insurance Company, informing us that we would be receiving a rebate as part of the requirements of the Affordable Care Act. The library's rebate will total $576.96 and must be used toward health care. Since this is something new, we reviewed the included documentation and discussed the distribution plan with the library's accountant, board treasurer, and board president. Based on this discussion, we proposed the following plan. We proposed depositing the check into budget line 716 health insurance to hold the funds until distribution can take place. According to the documentation from HAP, these funds should be distributed based on the division of contributions toward health care premiums. In this case, the employees contribute 20% and the library contributes 80%. So the total amount attributable to the employee contributions is 20% of the rebate, or $115.40. The library portion will be used toward future health care premiums, and the employee portion will be divided and returned to the employees through a one-time reduction of the payroll deduction for health care premiums based on the plan each employee has. The amount each employee will receive is as follows. If they have a single-person plan, we have 5 employees with a single-person plan, it would be $6.64. If they have a 2-person plan, we have 2 employees, that would be $15.25. A family plan, we have 3 employees that have a family plan, and that would be $17.24. I have spoken to our accountant regarding the legal requirements for distribution and the necessary documentation for the auditor. This method provides appropriate documentation that the funds are being used for health care. Since health care premium contributions are pre-tax, this distribution method ensures the funds are returned the same way they are contributed and are then subject to the appropriate taxes upon return. This distribution will take place in the next payroll cycle.
Actually, that was concise.
It was considering all the conversation.
There's all those pages of
led to
tiny
this.
print.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I will accept a motion.
I move to approve the distribution plan for the HAP rebate as presented.
I'll
It was
second.
presented very well.
I'll second that.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded that we approve this plan as presented. Any other comments or questions? And I take it this is all online.
It is. It's all in the packet. People are welcome to take a look at it.
All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Thank you. Next item.
I have to flip through all the pages.
Yes, there are-
Sorry.
There were like, what, one,
I think there were about 8 or 10 pages.
there were about
that
8 or 10 pages of tiny print
in regards
in the-
to $576.
in the information we received.
Okay. A resolution to approve retiree healthcare buyout. Prior to August 1st, 2012, the library was a department of the Charter Township of Independence. When the library reestablished as a district library, it became an independent entity and leased the employees from the township until December 31st, 2012, when they were hired by the Clarkston Independence District Library. The district library adopted the policies of the township until each policy can be reviewed, updated, and reapproved. The library board has had extensive discussions regarding the issue of retiree health care and how it affects the library and the employees. On January 1st, 2013, the library board created a MERS HCSP healthcare savings plan and approved a policy to contribute 3% of base wages to an account for each full-time employee for future health care going forward. The library board determined that the previous township benefit of providing health insurance in retirement would be eliminated through a buyout program for these employees that had been employed by the township as library employees prior to the reestablishment. However, the execution of this buyout could not take place until the negotiation and approval of an agreement regarding retiree healthcare funding vehicle, which took place on August of 2016.
Okay. And the agreement, which was worked on for years, was also included in our packet. It is online for observation.
It is a resolution, so it does require a roll call.
All right, I'll accept the motion.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Okay, who's second?
Allison.
Okay.
She got that in a nanosecond earlier. Yeah. All right. So the motion is to approve the retiree healthcare buyout as presented. And we'll do the budget as a second
Yep, I
item.
can do that second. Jan Gaffney,
Yes.
Michelle Ginn,
Yes.
Dan Green,
Yes.
Mary Himberg,
Yes.
Allison Van Kiesling,
Yes.
Marilyn Pomeroy.
Yes.
And then in order to do this, the money is actually, when it came back from the township, went into the retiree health care funding vehicle transfer line item, which is 694.002. And we need to move it from there to the MERS healthcare savings program line so that we can do that distribution and finalize this.
Okay, so I will accept a motion.
I'll move that we transfer the money so that it can be returned to the employees.
I second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve a budget adjustment of $137,997.56 from line item 694.002, which is the RHFV transfer, to line 719, the MERS HCSP. Any discussion? We did have a workshop on this item and on this issue. It was a public workshop before.
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion is carried. All right, number 4. Okay, third quarter financials. The year is moving on.
The move, quickly. Okay, so if we start with the page that includes the property taxes and revenues at the top. I know sometimes they come out backwards, and it seems to come out backwards in your packet, no matter how hard I try to get them in.
No, you got it right.
I got it right this time? Oh,
Yeah.
good. Excellent. Okay. So we're going to hop down to expenditures, which is about halfway down the page. In terms of wages for employees, we are actually under budget in both full-time and part-time wages. We are over budget in health insurance, and we need to make a budget adjustment to fix that tonight. And the reason that this happens is because our health insurance premiums do not come in until after we have already approved the budget. So last year, we were not really sure how much it was going to be in addition. Plus, we have had some changes in terms of coverage of some of the employees since we approved that budget last year. So we need to make a budget adjustment. It's going to sound large, $40,000 $40,135. I would recommend moving this from fund balance. I believe at the end of the year that we are going to have additional funds in both full-time and part-time wages, and there are a couple of other line items where we are under budget. But instead of trying to shuffle that much money from all over, I would suggest moving it from fund balance, and then at the end of the year, those fund balance additional dollars would go back into.
Makes sense.
But I was able to make this calculation based on, we have three bills left, October, November, and December, for our health care, and then also for the dental and optical. So this takes into account all of those bills. In terms of disability, short-term and long-term disability, we're a touch over budget in that one. That's one of the ones, another one that we don't always have the amount that the premiums are going to go up when we're writing the budget in September. I have to write the budget in, say, July, August, you approve it in September. And we did talk about this a little bit at the beginning of the year, that we were going to need to make budget adjustments. But I like to wait until the end of the year, and our accountant suggests that we do that. Instead of trying to guess way at the beginning of the year, wait as you get closer to the end, so that you're not overestimating or underestimating. So I suspect in the last budget adjustments in December that it's going to be a little bit over budget, maybe $100 in each. So we can make that as we get closer and can make a more accurate estimate. Flipping to the next page. For professional and contract services, we are significantly under budget, but some of the things that come up in that line item are things that don't come until the end of the year. We still have some bills coming in for the engineer as we start to work on phase 3. So it looks like we're way under budget. I think we're going to come out really well at the end of the year. I think there's going to be some money left over in that line item. It's not going to be that much money left over, but it's because we still have bills. The way they set this up is, you have your budget and kind of where you should be after 9 months if you were going to be spending it evenly every month, but life doesn't really work that way. So, so just so that you're aware, I think it's all going to come out. That one I think is going to come out okay as we get closer to the end of the year. Let's see. Hopping down to utilities under heat. That looks like we're really under budget at this particular point, but we haven't gotten to the cold snap at the end of the year yet. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. We can make adjustments in December if need be. I'm going to hope for mild. Electrical, looks like we are, oops, sorry, looking at the wrong line here. Electrical, it looks like we're good. Water and sewer. Water and sewer, we are over budget, which I kind of warned you about because we were trying to keep the sod from dying when it was 95 degrees. I would like to wait until the end of the year before we address that, because I have a feeling now that we've turned off the sprinklers that will correct itself. But we might be a little bit over budget by the end of the year. I was really concerned when we were trying to rescue that poor sod. So it was so expensive to install, but we didn't really have a choice. So. Building and grounds maintenance, we're a little bit over budget at this time, but I think we're going to be okay. Well, that's another one that we can address as we get closer to it. We never know. That line includes our snow plowing. That was always a little tough. It's another one that if we have a lot of snow plowing needs, then we end up having to make an adjustment. And if it's mild, as I'm hoping for, then it might not matter. So, printing and publishing, we're under budget. But we have the logo on the agenda later on, and there are some things that we would like to print at that time. So I suspect that this budget will probably write itself and be about right by the end of the year. Subscriptions is another one that appears we're pretty far under budget, but that's another one that the bill comes in November, December. Yeah, we talk about that one every year. Operating supplies, we always have to keep an eye on. The technical services one is a little bit over budget, but Brad's in charge of that one, and when they get to the end of the year, the librarians stop ordering as many books and he needs fewer supplies, so he tends to be done buying in about October, November. So I suspect he's just a little bit ahead of that 9 month because he knows he'll be buying less. Operating supplies is always a little bit dicey because we never know. The things that go into that line item depend a lot on usage. So printer cartridges and paper and things like that. If people come in and print a lot of things, we go through a lot of paper and cartridges. And if they don't, we don't. So right now it appears that they're printing a lot. but we might get to the end of the year and there may,
It
may
may
slow
stop.
down. So we may have to address that line item. That's one we often have to address by the end of the year. And then working our way down to the building budget. That one it says we are over budget, but of course, that's the parking lot project. So there's about $12,000 left in that line item because we have to pay for the structural slab. We held that money out until it was corrected. So I think that one will come out okay in the end. And that's about it. Any questions?
I feel like we're getting a little better at this.
No,
I was just thinking
No
the same
big
thing.
surprises.
We're pretty
No big
right on in a
surprises.
lot of the
Yeah.
columns, and the ones where we're not, there's a good reason for it.
Yeah, I think we're all getting good footing in terms of usage and needs, so. Get a little smarter every year.
Okay.
But I do need the one with the healthcare. So
How much is that?
$40,135.
Going from,
Going from fund balance into 716 health insurance.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned it.
Yep, but I need a motion.
oh, okay.
Well, I'll make the motion, but, let's see. So that we move the sum of $40,000?
$40,135
$135 from line,
from fund balance,
from the fund balance to line
716.
716.
I'll second that motion.
Thanks.
It's been moved and seconded that we transfer from fund balance to 716, $40,135. Any questions or comments about this item? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. And that moves us into the snow removal contract.
It does. It's always a little hard to talk about that this early in the year, but we never know when it's going to snow, and if we wait till the middle of November, who knows? For the past 4 seasons, the library has contracted with D&W Services LLC as our snow plowing contractor. Dale Graves has provided the attached quote for the 2016-2017 season, taking into account the changes to the handicap parking in Phase 2 of the library's parking lot reconstruction project and an increase in the cost of ice melt. Dale's worked very hard for the library the past 4 seasons. He is quick to respond to staff calls for assistance and has gone the extra mile even when the library was working with an extremely tight budget.
So are there any questions? The adjustments are not great.
I think he's done a good job.
Yeah, he has done a good job.
I like him.
Yeah, I don't have a problem, we can continue, but I do think that next year we should probably rebid this.
Okay, yep, I think you're right.
I mean, he has done a good job, but periodically you really do need to go out and.
Yep,
And
I
rebid.
definitely agree.
Yeah. Then I will move to approve D&W Services LLC as the contractor for snow plowing services for the 2016-17 season and authorize the library director to sign the contract.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the snowplow contract. Any questions or comments? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Now, number 6.
This is the discussion of the Mauti Memorial Tree. On July 5th, 2016, we were all saddened by the unexpected passing of Louise Mauti, longtime Clarkson resident and library lover. Her family designated the Clarkson Independence District Library as a recipient of memorial donations, and we have received $2,320 so far. I spoke to Louise's family about the type of memorial they would like, and they have requested that we plant a tree on the library grounds to honor both Louise's love of the library and gardening. The family consulted with an arborist and selected a ginkgo biloba tree. The proposed location would be in the center island of the parking lot as indicated by the red X on the included diagram. The donated funds should be enough to cover the purchase and the planting of the tree, as well as a small plaque indicating that it is in memory of Louise Mouty. The donated funds are currently being held by the Friends of the Clarkston Independence District Library, which is the library's charity arm. So as the expenses come in, the money wouldn't even run through the library. The Friends would write all the checks for paying to have the work done.
And you'll notice there's a picture of the tree.
And Louise,
And Louise is the picture.
Yes.
I'd like to make this motion.
Okay.
I move that we approve the planting of a tree in memory of Louise Motti as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the planting of a tree in Louise's memory. We thank the family for this opportunity. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
I will let the family know and we will get to work on that.
I think there's one of these trees in front of the Diag on the University of Michigan that has been there for many, many years, and they have beautiful leaves.
They're
Oh, they're
really
beautiful.
lovely.
Yeah.
They're really lovely trees.
It's a good choice.
It is a good choice. We've had other memorial trees planted on the property, and that was a recommended tree for this particular property previously. So their arborists came to the same conclusion as previous arborists who looked at the property. So
Excellent.
apparently this is good property for campus.
Number 7, let's review and approve the logo.
Yay.
This is a long time project.
The library's logo committee has been working very hard to develop a design that meets the needs of our growing and evolving library. The proposed logo design, as well as samples of library cards and promotional materials, will be unveiled and discussed. So I believe that Bill has it set up that I can actually show it to you on the big screen.
Okay.
See if I can do this. Yeah. Well, I noticed that the screen went black and I thought, oh dear, that means it probably went to sleep. Oops, I don't see
There you
it.
go.
Ah, excellent. Okay, so this is the logo. It doesn't quite fit onto the screen. Let me see if I can make, no, that's as big as it's gonna get. Okay. And the committee, let me see if I can go to the next page. Ah, there we go. So the committee had some specific things that they were trying to do. It doesn't quite fit on the screen, so I'll do my best here. The first thing that they wanted to do, our name is really, really long. So we wanted to try and start to encourage the community and ourselves to call us CIDL, which is significantly shorter. So we needed the logo to highlight that so that people know what that means. We wanted to make sure that the logo identified both those initials with the name so that people can start to make that connection. So if we just start calling ourselves CIDL, people are going to look at us and say, hmm? So we did that. So we wanted to have the initials and the name. A couple things about the name that were important. One was that we wanted equal representation of both Clarkston and Independence. That's hard because those two words are not the same length. And we also wanted library to be nice and big and prominent. And then the last thing is we wanted to use our mission statement, which is the community's cornerstone of lifelong learning through innovation, education, and enrichment. And so we put innovate, enrich, and educate at the bottom. They worked really hard to pick a color palette and then determined that they didn't want to pick a color palette because they wanted the freedom of the design to be anywhere. So what they did was they picked basically a black and white design that can then be implemented in any way. So these are samples of the cards that the designer has come up with, both the children's card and an adult card. And for those of you who have seen, currently we have what is a credit card size card and 1 key tag, but the future cards we would like to have would be a credit size card and 3 key tags so that family members can share the cards. And that would be the children's version, and this would be the adult version, where it's a credit card size and then 3 key tags as well, which would allow spouses to share cards as well. And then they also did business cards with a very slick and streamlined look. And then they also designed a retractable banner that we can take to outreach events. Any questions?
Where would the banner be placed?
It would be something that we would take like when we go to Art in the Village, when we go to Kids Day in the Park. something that we could put outside next to our table at the business expo, that kind of thing, so that people would be able to see who we are.
It was a lot of work. I worked on that committee. I wasn't at every single meeting, but it was really more difficult than you would think.
Yes.
And I think the final choice is clear and simple and useful.
It was quite a journey. We started out with these 3 points that we wanted. We wanted, as I said, to have the initials, have the name, include the slogan, and then we were having trouble getting really excited because it seemed so very plain. So then we went through a period of trying to find a symbol and discovered that there is really no appropriate symbol for a library because we do so much, that what we do is so varied. And we didn't really want to pick something that would tie us to a particular image. What the committee sort of decided that they really liked about this is really a transitional logo, that about the time that people start to call us CIDL on a regular basis would be the time to adapt this logo into something else. So they are sort of presenting this as a transitional. We had our staff day on October 7th and we unveiled this to the staff. They were really excited about it because it does fit everything that people are hoping for. We wanted to make sure that we had their buy-in before we got the board to take a look at it just in case. But they are really excited about this because it is so flexible and it gives them the opportunity to play with color and to play with design as well.
Yes, for those of us who tried this a couple years ago, when we first tried looking at that, and we discovered that this was a really, really difficult decision.
It's a very difficult process. And one of the things that we figured out going through this whole Harwood process and the community conversations is, in some ways, we are still also trying to figure out who we are. We've come a long way, and we still have a long way to go. And so we feel like this gives us the opportunity to sort of redefine our name without trying to tie ourselves down too much, and we can still evolve. So you may see us come back at some point with, maybe down the road we'll pick a color palette, or maybe we'll just keep doing it this way, because the staff is really excited about the flexibility of this.
It's very flexible.
That's good. Who was on the committee? We had Melissa Henry, who's our business and marketing librarian, Christina Bowers, who is our PR and volunteer coordinator, James Pugh, who is representing the general, just the staff in general, myself, and Mary Himberg.
Excellent job.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah. It was,
I think they're all to be commended.
it's been quite a process.
It was quite a process.
We've been through 4 designers.
Right. I said, those of us who tried to help with this previously quickly realized that this was very difficult.
It is good.
And you're
Well, a long
trying
time ago, you could just have a picture of a book.
Right. And as a universal
Not that
symptom,
way.
like the H for hospital, as a universal symptom,
Yes.
symbol, the book is fine because everybody knows what that stands for. But it was too limiting in terms of what kind of services are provided.
They did a really nice presentation at the staff meeting. I actually was hoping that one of them would come and give you the full presentation that they did from the committee, but they were all off doing other things this evening, so you just got me. But they did a really nice presentation, sort of talking about that journey and showing some of the trials and tribulations, the hits and the misses. And it was a little more entertaining than my presentation, but I thought I could just get to the point. So, any questions?
Thank you very much. I'll accept a motion.
Move to approve the logo as presented and approve the mission statement.
Let me explain that part first. Hold on.
As presented.
So the other thing that came up when we did the logo, you'll notice it says innovate, enrich, and educate, and our mission statement is innovate, educate, and enrich. So the PR or the logo committee suggested that I ask the board to switch those words, switch the order so that they line up, so that it says innovate, enrich, educate on the logo, and it also says innovate, enrich, and educate in the
Makes
mission
sense,
statement.
that is a better order.
Okay. And those are the 3 items, so we don't care what order they're in.
It doesn't matter.
But that's what the thing with the mission statement is. When we picked it because it sounded nice, and then when they did the design, they switched the order because it laid out better the other way. So,
With the enrich in the middle.
with Enrich in the middle, because Innovate and Educate were a little more balanced size-wise, so that was, sorry, should have mentioned that while I was presenting the logo.
No, makes sense, so.
Yeah.
I second Allison's motion.
All right, let me restate here. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the logo as presented and to approve the mission statement to be that the Clarkston Independence District Library, the community's cornerstone of lifelong learning through innovation, enrichment, and education. Any further comments or questions? It's well explained. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Number 8. We'll look forward to seeing this.
I suspect you'll be seeing it within just a couple of days, because they're waiting for me to email as soon as the meeting is over that they can order things. So they're very, very excited.
Okay, number 8 is the Americans with Disabilities Act policy.
The library's attorney drafted this policy to ensure that it is in compliance with ADA recommendations and regulations. So, it just came in Friday afternoon, so I apologize that it wasn't in the packet prior to that, but I did email it out to you so you could read it in advance. Nothing has changed since you saw the email that came on Friday.
Are there any questions?
Is there concern about the policy? Okay.
If not, I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve the ADA policy, Americans with Disability Act policy, or I believe this is for everyone, as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the American Disabilities Act policy, shortened to ADA, as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
I do have one question on this. I'm not sure on this. I read in some of the literature that you're not allowed to ask for proof of a disability.
We are allowed to, you are actually told that you can ask if it is for medical purposes. They do not have to provide proof. You can say, is this for medical purposes? And if they say yes, then we need to take that at face value. We don't have to require, or we're not supposed to require a doctor's note or anything in that regard. So that's, it's a little bit complicated, but.
I don't imagine it'll be an issue too many times.
Wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so, but I don't know.
But I like proactive.
Well, I do too, and I think that, putting the speed limit in.
I think that is good. And there are so many people that genuinely do need
Yes.
assistive devices that I hate to see it being
Right.
abused by someone that perhaps doesn't need it.
Right.
That was where I was curious.
So sedate
Yep.
movement.
Yes.
Indeed.
Okay. Thank you. Good questions. I will accept a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn at 6:29. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 6:29. Thank you.